for you in case you might need it. On experience, I realize when we normally record videos for you people, most of you don't come to class. So depending on how things go, I will know when to post it for you guys to also have a copy of it. Now, today's lecture, we were supposed to have it in-house. As some of you might be aware, I'm not around at the moment. I'm not in Accra as we speak, so I couldn't have made it today. Next week, as I'm told, alternatively, we would have, today is on campus. The next week is supposed to be online, then on campus online. That is what I've been told so far. I'll do my best to meet you in-house, on campus, as much as I can. Now, my name is Felix Labi Aye. I'm currently a lecturer in the Computer Science and Engineering department here in the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT. So I have some sort of membership with the ISC squared, which some of you might have an idea of that particular consortium or body. That is the International Information Security, System Security Certificate. I'm going to mute everybody. And anyone who would want to talk would have to raise the hand for me to give access to. So at the moment, all of you have been muted. Yeah, so I'm a member of the ISC squared. That is where I got this CC certification, which is a certified in cybersecurity certification from them. Some of you are already enrolled in a WhatsApp platform that I've created just to help most of you who wants to delve into cybersecurity. Unfortunately, I've not really met them, but the reason for creating the page has been given out, and I have a lot of you, I think over 200 students on that particular platform. Those of you who would want to be on that platform can let me know. Then I'll send the link to you so you can join on that WhatsApp. Unfortunately, some have taken the exam and have failed, but of course, the idea is to guide you to write that certification, which is a CC certification, that is certified in cybersecurity. So as we move on, those that will be interested, later on, we'll figure a way to get you on board so you can register it. It's actually free. And these certifications are, worldwide, it's accepted worldwide. Virtually anywhere you go, if you have a certification from ISC squared, it means, you are in the business of cybersecurity. So they actually respect certification. I'm a member of the Institute of the Electrical and Electronic Engineers, as well as the International Association. All these are membership that I belong to. So this is my email address. Most times, if you want to see me, I'm virtually on all these platforms. When you look out for FLIA, which is Felix Labi Aye, you probably will see me on these platforms. Yes, I'm on TikTok, but not so live in there. Yeah, so these are my research areas: wireless and wired network security, web application and internet technologies, cybersecurity related stuff, open source web application. Now, I'm sure most of you are doing your projects in final year. So if I do have time, those that would want me to maybe consult a little on some of your topics, or maybe you need some guidance, you can hit me up. At my leisure, I can probably give you some guidance, in coming out with your projects. Well, my PhD work was centered on artificial intelligence, or maybe machine learning, as we normally would say, and also network security. So these are my research areas. Now, for the course information for this, sorry, this is that was a previous lecture. Yes, for that, for the CSCS 442, we're supposed to have a lecture hour of 2. From the timetable that I have, we meet once a week. So it means almost every week we would have about 2-hour lecture. This is going to be my mode of assessment for the continuous assessment. So attendance obviously would be between, this is tentative. I choose to change it when the need be, but possibly will be between 5 and 10. And the continuous assessment, as I'm told, is usually 30 marks. And we'll probably would have the attendance, if it is 10, then making 40 marks for you guys. So in that continuous assessment, attendance will fall in there. We would have some quizzes, 2 or 3, and virtually almost all my quizzes will be online. So I'm sure most of you have knowledge about the Moodle platform. So I have one already set up, which is meant for this particular course, which I'm going to give you a link to. Unfortunately, I've not been given to give you access to. So that is where you're going to have this, all lecture materials will be there, videos, everything that you need to pass this course. I'm going to give you, will be hosted in there. So there will be assignments. We will have some pop quizzes. There might be times, just to see those that come to class. Maybe when the classes have started, then I tell you, now hook onto your phone and maybe take the next 15 minutes to do this pop quiz. We could have something of that sort. Then we might have individual assignments and some for group. We might also have group presentation too as well. So the group presentation or individual presentation, if we do have any, then it means I would have to, we would hold those ones when I meet you in person. So that is about the continuous assessment. And of course, the end of exam is going to be 60 marks. As of now, I don't know how it's going to be. So depending on how the semester is going to be, I will know whether to, how the exams is going to be structured. Maybe MCQs together with theory and all of that. I don't know how it's going to be now. So before I move on, I would want you to, please, anyone can talk. Most times my classes, I want it to be very interactive. Can you tell me any networking course that you've done so far? This will give me a good opportunity to know when to leverage that courses to also teach you what would help in this particular course, which is a computer network security. Anyone? I want to know your knowledge in networking. So if you can tell me which networking course have you've done so far from first year through to now? Anyone, please. Hello? I'm going to unmute you. So anyone, please hit me up. You can also raise your hand if you want to talk. Yeah, Nelson, I would want you to talk. So just get ready. Network management. Can you tell me just briefly, what you actually did in there for network management? Nelson?
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yeah, Nelson.
So, network management, in this course, we did some practical works whereby we use, we basically, I don't know how to say this. We configure a whole network
Okay.
as a lab work. And then we
Okay.
also learned about how network management, the protocols, and then yeah, that's what we learned.
Yeah. So in that case, you know what subnetting X. You know how to come out with maybe if you are given an IP, how to come out with a subnet. Where you taught
Yes.
how to do those computations and
Yeah,
all of that.
they taught us subnetting.
So you know how to do the calculations and all of that.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you to do it. I just want to get the basics right so that I can leverage on it to teach this. Any other person, Solomon? Yes?
Okay, so I took a course on CompTIA Security Plus.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Are you done with it?
Almost.
Okay. I believe you want to take up the exam.
Yeah, I wanted to write at this school at Circle, but the fees, because of the fees.
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
now I would want, of course, you might have a little upper hand, excuse me, than the others, but can you tell me in class, maybe some other things that you've done apart from network management? Is there any other course that you've treated?
Network programming.
Network programming. Okay, what did you do in that, please?
Yeah, how the network works, we can work with the APIs. Yeah.
Your voice is hidden, Muhammad.
And I said,
Yes, your voice seems far away.
we talked about how you can work with APIs.
APIs with
So I
network.
said you talked about how APIs. Yeah, network programming. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there any other question? Yes. Yes.
The network programming is not a course on its own that we actually like take the entire semester. It's just something that they talk about. It's like something under a course. Let's say the network management. So what we've treated the whole semester is network management. That's the course. But
yes,
there are
that is what I mean.
topics.
Okay, there were subtopics in there where you treated that. Okay. Nelson, later on, I would want you to hit me up. We will have one or two discussions. All right, I think so.
Okay,
that is the only networking course that you've done so far, right?
So we talked about wireless networks.
Come again.
We did wireless networks.
Still in network management course, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So if I'm getting things right, so far from first year to now, you've treated one networking course, which is network management, where all these fall in there. Right. I think that is fine. Others would say they treated datacom and computer networks. Others would say they did network principles too as well. Okay, so now I have a fair idea of what you've done. That is good. So we can move on. Right. So yeah, so generally the expected outcome is going to be in this way. I've sent a message to the I think the administrator in the department to get me the course descriptor. But generally, when we talk of computer network security, these are some of the things that at least you should have some knowledge in there. So I intend getting you familiar with the network security, some basis of networking for not necessarily beginners per se. We'll talk about the Ethernet network topologies. I believe you have some of these on your fingertips. I'll briefly go through some of this as fast as I can. Also, if you did network management, there's a high probability you've also treated the OSI model. So we would touch on some of these things before we delve into the security aspect of the networking itself. So this would be the expected learning outcomes that I'm going to go through. Today is just a general overview of what I intend doing for this particular course and also get you ready for the Moodle platform so that God willing, next week is when we actually go delve into the course. Now, on the next slide with this, I have in here, so the reference materials that you will need, I will give you everything that you need. When you meet me in person or when we are in a class like this, please feel free to ask questions. Nelson, you have your hand up, yes?
Yes, so talking about the Moodle platform, I think a lot of us have issue with the course registration, which we are not able to have access to our portals and those stuff. And the school said they are in the process of beginning. We don't know how long it will take. So if only we can get alternative, if the assignments that will come, if they didn't resolve the issue during that period, maybe you have alternative for that.
Yes, yes. As I said earlier, I spoke to the head of department. What he told me is they're working on the Moodle. Last semester, I was hoping to get access to it. Unfortunately, I couldn't get access. If you heard me talking earlier on, I personally have a Moodle platform on a server. I have a hosting environment where I host most of my projects, some websites and others. So So I'll show you what I have, the hosting platforms, which you can pick up. And so virtually, you're going to register on that platform. And there are some key things that I would want you to hit to, because per experience, I've realized that most of you keep making mistakes. And those that I taught last semester, I realized what I told them, some of them, about I think 15 or so, they didn't do what I asked them to do. So it's a little difficult getting to know, match their continuous assessment with their exams results. So that is one major reason I wanted to meet you today, even for 30 minutes or so. So that at least you do the right thing and we will be on the same page and things will be better for all of us. Yeah, so virtually when we do meet, if there's supposed to be any practical session and all of that, we'll talk about most of these. I believe.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's fine. If we have a computer science student in final year, there's a high probability you have a laptop. Yes, so I don't know, maybe with your network management class, there's a likely, I'm sure you use these virtual machines or Hyper-V for Windows, VirtualBox, virtual machines to, host computers and all of that to set up this. Yeah, so if the need be that I possibly would have to help you set up a full network in class for you to get, hosts connected to this particular network to give them access with DHCP, IP addresses dynamically being assigned and all of that. If I have to do that, I will take it upon myself to do that. I'm hoping this will be a wonderful class. Yes. Usually, since this is the first time, now most of you have heard of network security, computer network security, cyber security, information security. They all relate in one way or the other, finding ways to protect our system. I sometimes do give a talk on cyber security, which I am going to give a brief talk on that today with you, briefly. So we'll be on the same page when we meet next week when I come out. By then, I'll have the exact course descriptor for the semester to continue with the lectures. So cybersecurity awareness, most people talk about this. You're in final years, so I believe most of you have knowledge in this one. I normally talk about this to when the need be to make some sort of awareness, lecture for people in this area. Now, so with that, usually we have, so this is the outline for cybersecurity. Someone would ask, this is a network security class. Why are we talking about cybersecurity? Usually when we talk about cyber relates to things that are online. And network security, before you can even go online, you have to get a very good, robust, network to have access to, the other nodes that connects to the network. So the moment you go online, then that is where cyber does come in. So most times we normally interchange network security and cyber security in a way, depending on the domain or the angle that you do speak. Most times we normally, use such words interchangeably. So before today, I just want to give you a little awareness. Then we'll delve into the lecture itself, God willing, next week. Now, the term cybersecurity, which most of you already know, refers to the security offer, which is normally offered online services to protect information. So when we talk about information security too, so whenever you do hear of information security, generally finding ways to secure your information. It could be, so for instance, if I have, so these are exams results for students. These are exams results for students, if you can see my screen. Now, this is information that students are not supposed to see because the results have not been approved yet. So ways that I can keep this information possibly in my office or hide them in a table, put it in a file, lock it. So those are ways that I'm securing this particular information. So information security normally deals with securing information, be it online, be it offline, and so on. But the moment we want to secure such information that are online, especially be it digital and all of that, that is where cyber comes in. And of course, network security, the measures that you do take in place on the network to secure some of these things so that data which is at rest or possibly moving is not being stolen at any point in time. So usually the more connected you are, the more vulnerable you become in the area of the cyberspace. Cyberspace, that is, once you are online. So those of you who have access to whichever social media that you are on, you have access to every social media. If you hear of anything, you are there. If you hear, you have to be careful because it means you can be vulnerable at any point in time. We do get hacked once in a while, So you should be mindful that the more connected you are, which is online, the more vulnerable you would be. I wouldn't be surprised if some people would try to also see how vulnerable I am, to probably see my password, all of that. Yes, so that is in the area of cybersecurity. Now, usually there are things that really do happen on the internet. Most of the things that we have been treating online, this is more like a miscellaneous things. Most times they are knowledge that you should have an idea of. In a quiz or in an exam, there could be something of that sort that possibly I might not say in class, but that should, if a question is being put, maybe an MCQ question is being put, you should have knowledge, broad knowledge in some of these things. That is why I'm actually speaking on this basic awareness for you to get abreast with them. Now, the internet itself, or the cyberspace that we do have, we find ourselves in there, we can actually divide them into from here through up and from here down are the main, categories that we do have in the cyberspace or online. So we have the surface web and we have the deep web. And when you do hear of the deep web, it's actually broken into two. We have the deep web, which we normally associated with, still call it the deep web. And we have a darker part of the deep web, which we normally call the dark web. Some of you probably have knowledge in this. I wouldn't be surprised if the gentleman who spoke about taking the Security Plus. Security Plus is actually a very good course if you do take that one. It's also synonymous to the course from ISC Squared, which is the Certified in Cybersecurity. So if you do take Security Plus, anyone who does take Security Plus, we normally would term them as the entry-level certification for job. If he's able to finish up that particular Security Plus class or course, he writes the exam, there's a high probability he can get a job, be it remote or maybe in-house in a company. So those that would want to go into the security. So if you do, you can take the Security Plus or you can take the CC, that is a Certified in Cybersecurity. There are other courses that come in there. Now, in the dark web, as I said, some of you have knowledge in that. It's actually part of the deep web. So what we have here, we have about 94% of the things that we normally do online residing in the 4% that we have in here. So most times, especially those that are not computer savvy, they normally treat most or do most of the things online from this point. They only use the internet, the 4% portion of the internet. And that is where the surface web actually resides. So it's a portion of the World Wide Web that is readily available to the general public and searchable with standards web search engines like Google. If you use Google to make any search, and if you go to Google and you search anything and you do find them, usually they reside in the surface web. Now, the remaining 96% is actually where the deep web comes in. So it actually contains 96% of it. And within that, we have the dark web falling in there. So we have the surface web, we have the deep web and the dark web. The deep web actually holds about 96% of it. When you hear of the deep web or the section of that, so this section is actually those that are invisible to everybody. And these relates to some of these things like mails. So anytime you think of portals that you need to log on to using your username and a password and a two-factor authentication and so on and so forth. Usually things that you do log on to have access to falls within the deep web. So these are parts of the World Wide Web whose contents are not indexed by standard web search engines. So for instance, if you should check up your portal to maybe check your grades or even the Moodle platform that you have, if it is meant for students in GCTU, then it means if you are not a student in GCTU, there are certain courses that you will not be able to have access to, like the one that I'm teaching here and will be giving you access. You need to have something we call an enrollment key to get yourself enrolled into that particular course. So that is a way of, protecting yourself and preventing others from having access to said content. So those are those portals that you need to usually log on to or, do some of these things to have access to. All right, I'll come again, Bafo. So those are things that you probably would have to do. You log on before you can have access to set portions of it. I talked about cybersecurity. Yes, I said I have some students. I've actually not been able to meet them one-on-one, but I've put up one single video about the reason for, setting up the WhatsApp page. The idea is to guide students to have access to search portals, which is to guide students who are interested in the cybersecurity space to take the certification. Personally, I'm a fan of certification. If you want, if most people say they are cybersecurity experts and so on, but they don't have any certification to prove it, So sometimes it's best you take a certification that makes you, people know that you know what you're actually talking about. So those that would be interested, we can talk about that later. The link can be shared for you. Akwete says James. Okay, somebody is looking at James. Akwete. Yes, is there legal pornography? Oh, is pornography legal? Well, anything that you can search online that you see, they will, if you search and you do see it, then it's actually available for you to watch. Yeah, so the other parts of the deep web is what we normally term as the dark web. Some of you have knowledge of that. So it's a portion of the deep web that has been intentionally hidden. It's actually hidden from the outside world. And in the deep web, a lot of things do happen in there. So many things go on in there. An example could be a contract. So for instance, this is an election year. It will surprise you. Hypothetically, there could be a scenario where maybe one political party would, contract a hacker through the dark web to possibly hack, the transfer of information from the polling station to the strong room. That is possible. Anything is possible when it comes to, cyber. I've not mentioned anybody. Godwin be warned. Yeah, so there's a likelihood things can happen, actually. So at the dark web, we can contract a hacker to hack an entire organization, to steal information. And in the dark web, people do sell guns or weapons, fraudulent business happen. In the dark web, you could also see somebody's credit card or Visa card, being sold, Visa card possibly holding thousands of Ghana cedis being sold for, let's say, 10 cedis in the dark web. It's also possible. A lot of criminal activities go in there. We could have live camera, people have fetishes, people have things that they like. Some possibly might laugh. Some big men, when they have so much money, they don't know what to do. They can have, there could be a live camera website in the dark web is being patronized by these big people just to see maybe an old man raping maybe a younger fellow or something, virtual payments. And most times in the dark web, the mode of payments usually is the use of Bitcoin. So that is about it. Yes, to get access to the dark web, the regular browsers that we have been using, which is the Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, and so on and so on and so forth, the regular ones, browsers that we do use, you will not give you access to it. And you should be mindful that, you know, the domains that we have been visiting most times are either .com, .gh, .net, .us, all those. But in the dark web, all their websites are in the form of what we call onion. They are in .onion. And the numbers are not, they are possibly hexadecimal, or you will not see it like google.com. You probably might see google.com in the dark web could be maybe IGK46774293849.onion. So that could be Google's address in the dark web. And to access the dark web, these .onion files, you will need something we call the Tor browser, this particular browser. This, when you go on to, even on our phone, you can have the Tor browser in there. You can download it and install. iPhone has one, and I think Android too does have one. So to access websites on the dark web, you need what we call the Tor browser. It's actually free. And you should be mindful, if you do go into the dark web, there's a likelihood that you know what you are dealing with. So you need to always be careful. You see how my tone changed when I started talking about dark web. Yeah, you should be a little careful, because what you do in there, the mere fact that you've gone onto the dark web means you know your way around. If you don't know your way around, you'll be surprised you'll be hacked. You enter and you go to it, by the time you realize you are hacked and people have hijacked your entire PC by giving you viruses and so on and so forth. So just be careful and know you have an experience, Godwin. That's yeah. A lot of things do happen in there. It's it's not so scary. Things well, yes, it depends on where you go. Those that would want to watch documentary online on YouTube, there are some documentaries on YouTube that you can watch about how, you know, hackers have been found by FBI on, you know, through the dark web. You know, there are lots of things that go on there. Anything that you can think of, any bad thing, seal of drugs, the way we have Amazon, you know, selling stuff. We have a version of Amazon somewhere that you can also sell your products, illegal products. Countries selling weapons to a whole lot of them coming in there. Yes. Yes, so to do this, of course, you need the Tor browser, which I just talked about, this software. That is the way to access it. There is one very good guy online who teaches how to have access to the dark web. So it's on YouTube. You can always check it out. And most times, people that go onto the dark web will normally run it on their pen drive. There's a software which you can run on the pen drive. It's lightweight, and anytime you want to go online, you can run it. All right. Yeah, so that is about the dark web. A lot of things that does go in there. So in a more cleaner version, this is how the dark web, the web actually is. Yes, I talked about the dark web. So the deep web, dark net, sometimes those are the names that we normally associate it with. The hidden nets, the invisible nets, it has many names. When you hear of dark web or dark dark nets, they are all the same. And we use a Tor browser because it uses the Tor server. The Tor browser is a client. The server could be installed on so many computers. And most times the military and the law enforcement agency use the Tor browser to do some of these things. So they also have their own stuff in there. Of course, the Tor browser can also serve as a VPN, you know, to have access to some websites. You can use, you can use the Tor browser too as a browser to protect yourself when you are online. An example is what is being shown in here. So of course, this is it. So this is the Tor client, which is the Tor browser, which you install on your computer. And before you can go on to, maybe assuming our destination is google.com, From the Tor client, which is a Tor browser that we have, we bounce to our computer gets connected to maybe a server somewhere in, let's say, Nigeria. Then that server also connects our traffic to another a country like, let's say, UK. And from UK, it takes us to possibly France. So it is this France server that will give us the google.com that we want to visit, save the page for us to see on our website. So if someone tries to check your location where you actually browsing from, they will not be able to know where you're coming from because you've bounced off your traffic on different servers located at different geographical areas. So that hides your identity from people that would want to track your location. So that is how the Tor browser does work. So of course, from the final to the destination, that is where the traffic is actually not encrypted. So you'll be in Ghana browsing with a Tor browser, and whoever tries to track you, you'll be told that you are in US or UK or Canada or wherever. So that is how the Tor browser does work. Now, I tried this some time back. So when you use a Tor browser, this is a .onion. Of course, you can see where it bounces the traffic from. So this is the browser that I was using. It went to France. It went to Iceland. It went to United States before it connected unencryptedly online for me to serve this page. So I opened the Tor browser. I went to this website, and what happened was it ran me through all these Tor servers before it gave me access to the internet. So if someone is tracking me, the person would think that I'm in the user. I'm actually browsing the website in the US. So that is how it works. So it hides your identity from people seeing you. And as every server, from every server to the other, you always it actually encrypts your packets or your traffic. You can see from here, encrypted by Tor. So from here to here is encrypted, encrypted, encrypted. It's only the final destination that is not encrypted. And that is where the location will be displayed to whoever is trying to track you. So in that case, he would think you are in US. Meanwhile, you are probably in Ghana or somewhere. Now, if you should also try to find out the who is, if I'm using this particular IP address, so for instance, if I'm here and I try to check the who is, those of you who would want to, if you go to whoa.net, it will tell you the IP address, your IP address and where you're actually browsing from, to give you the browser that you are using and so on and so forth. So that is when you use the regular browser, the normal browser that we're using, Chrome, Firefox, Mozilla, Opera, and so on. Mind you, being in incognito mode does not protect you. It only hides your history. It doesn't protect you in any way. So please be careful when you try to use any of these online. The gentleman with the index number, I'll find out the name. It's like one young guy. If I do get the name, I'll let you know. Yes. Okay, so that is about it. And since some of you are in computer science, I'm sure some will be interested in cybersecurity. Jobs are coming in for cybersecurity guys, so you can always, go in there in that particular tangent, write certifications. And now everything is online. Simply Learn, most people are teaching online for free, so you can learn entire ethical hacking online on YouTube for free. So this will not stop you from wanting to delve into an area that you are interested in. It doesn't need to be in cyber or anything. What if you are using private relay keys? Godwin, I've not used that before, but if you do have a private relay key, then possibly you might be able to hide your identity. I've not tried that before, Godwin. Yes, so that is about it. So usually, which the hackers, they are not interested in our small computers. They are interested in big companies. That is how come even in Ghana we hardly hear hacking. When you do hear a company being hacked, usually it is their website that has been defaced. They are probably using WordPress or using Joomla or any of these open source software, and oh, Ghana Web has been hacked. It's just a website defacement, that is not rigorous hacking. Hacking is when you steal information, maybe information that's possibly is worth huge sums. So the hackers, I'm talking about the black hackers in actual fact, those that do most of these things for money, they are more centered on these Fortune 500, companies. The Fortune 500 company is a company that is part of the annual list, which is normally compiled and published by the Fortune magazine. And they rank the best 500 companies, largest companies in terms of revenue in the US corporation. So based on your revenue for any particular fiscal year, they probably will tell you, will rank your company to see if you are part of the Fortune 500. So any company which is part of the Fortune 500 means they do have l'argent, they have lots of money. So this list mostly include the companies, these private organizations, and so on. So that is about the Fortune 500. They are the ones that are mostly being targeted by these hackers. And then most of the time when they attack them, they steal their credentials and put them on the dark web and do things with them. So those are the targeted ones. That is how come, people hardly, hack people like us, individuals. They hardly don't hack individuals, because how much will you get from me or from you? They are more
50 cedis.
50 cities. Yeah, so it's the big companies that they are most of the time interested in hacking. That is about it. And as I said, this awareness talk is a general talk to have a general idea of most of these things. These are things we normally don't, talk about in class. So just to break your conscience and let you know that some of these things does exist. Anyway, so they hack these people and they steal money and all of that. Maybe one of you possibly will hack my computer to steal exams questions. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, say no, we don't want exam questions.
Yeah, so that is about it. So importance of cybersecurity, of course. Somewhere in Ghana, not until somewhere in 2020, we didn't have a cybersecurity act. And even now, it's not really. It is there, but it will get to a point we will now find ways to enforce it. You can have a whole institution, I'm not mentioning any institution. You can have a whole institution like one big university, and they don't even have a cybersecurity specialist, and they say they have students' records, and you can imagine things that could go on behind the scene. So now in 2020, Ghana did, as I've told, up until 2020, Ghana did not have any cybersecurity acts, but now we do have the Cybersecurity Authority, which was established, and now they have come out with the acts, which is the Act 2020 at 1038. And the idea is to regulate cybersecurity activities in Ghana. And of course, the whole idea is to promote the development and cybersecurity in the country, and also to provide related matters in such areas. Now, these are the areas. We have the data protection, business continuity, and the privacy reservation. Of course, for data protection, the Cybersecurity Act 1038, which was enacted by the Cybersecurity Authority in 2020, its mandate is to protect, is for data protection for personal and also intellectual property. So for personal information, the cybersecurity measures are put in place to safeguard personal information. So now, even now, like how our dear sisters have their so-called videos have been circulating online for blackmail and all of that. Even now, worldwide, if mistakenly a lady's maybe nude pictures or videos are circulating online, of course, you can write to such a particular organization to tell them to help you pull such, videos down. And they have no option than to pull it, or else they'll be sued. I don't know if any of you recall, there was one, I don't want to mention names. If you know, just have it put in your mind. There was one minister, minister, a lady, whose son was involved with, a daughter of one prominent university head some time back. Yeah, and said videos were circulated all over. Yeah, oh, this man, Godwin, you talk too much, eh? I don't want to say anything, no. Yeah. So you saw how the woman was able to, pull strings for all those. Now, I don't even think this video is even there. If it is there, then it's on your phone, or it is not online. So measures were put in place, to pull down all these things. And, of course, if it is somewhere online, you could write for all of such to be pulled down. Unless maybe you go to the dark web. That one, you'll be surprised at things that are there. So business continuity, intellectual property, maybe I have organization invest significant resources in developing maybe an intellectual property. And in this case, it could include proprietary algorithm. If you come out with an algorithm, which your lecturer probably didn't help you to come out with, and he's taking, he wants to take advantage of it. Of course, you can see him in a way. But of course, if you're a student of an institution and your lecturer helps you, your lecturer, whether he supervises you or he's not available to help supervise you, your project is definitely for they will fail you. God will realize. Yeah. Of course, your project is for the institution, because that is how come you are giving your degrees. Yeah. But it's not right for you to, write your entire thesis without your lecturer supervising, and he will just take it and publish it and not even add your name. He is supposed to add your name. There has been instances where, some lecturers have been, professors have been told, their professorship had removed them, their titles, stripped from them, mainly because they stole student work, to present. These are all things that's as this, but in our part of the world, we normally don't really, take these actions. The least the lecturer can do is to publish the work and also include your name because you are part of it. So business continuity, operations disruptions, supply chain security. I'll get the PowerPoints to you so some of you can go through it. Privacy and all of that. There are so many. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I've almost spent an hour. So quickly, these are types of threats: malware, phishing, social engineering, denial of service attack, insider threats. Some of these, you have knowledge of them. I'm sure as we move on in the course, we might talk about some of them. Who can tell me what virus stands for? The virus.
Very important resource under siege.
Exactly. Vital information resource under siege. Of course, he says vital, very important resource under siege. That is exactly the case. Yeah, so ways to protect yourself, protective techniques to have a strong authentication, regular software updates. Some of you, when you buy a laptop for the first time, it might be brand new. Then you hear of a new operating system. Then you format your laptop and put a pirated operating system. If you're not buying the operating system, don't format your computer. Please, it's not the best, because when you pirate it, and most of these pirated software are coming from China. You can imagine a number of traffic that are happening on your network, on your computer when you are connected online. Windows, especially in our part of the world, we don't buy software. We normally pirate it. The Microsoft Word that you have on your computer, is it a pirated one or is it a purchased one?
Get into PC.
Get into PC. Of course, that website gives you everything that you need.
Oh, yes.
But you should be careful too as well. Those people who patch their software, there's nothing free under the sun, By the time you realize, we have something we call crypto hijacking. Sometimes you probably will see, you install some of these free stuff. By the time you realize, anytime you are online, your computer will be mining Bitcoin for them.
Hey.
Yeah. Of course, you install it and it installs these mining Bitcoin software. You are a victim behind the scene. An example.
God, you need everything a victim. Everything be a victim. Hey.
So we have to be careful. So when we download some of these things online, others, they want to protect. They tell you, people will say, when you are using Mac, you are safe. You are not safe. You are never safe. Anyway, let's just find ways to protect ourselves. Try and get an antivirus. At least for a whole year, you can get an antivirus for 100 cedis. Those of you who have been buying shawarma and pizza for their girlfriends, you can buy antivirus for yourself.
Yeah, go back. Sean go back like 2 days.
All right, so encryption, employee education, and awareness. So awareness needs to go on every time. And there was one time, institutions sent, an email, a phishing mail to the entire university. Wait, I shouldn't have mentioned. And surprisingly, people that have been educated on cybersecurity, phishing, and all of that, they were the same people who were clicking on the link. And at the end of the day, the awareness wasn't effective. People end up, forgetting. So now I would want you to at least, for just a takeaway for today's class, when you go to Have I Been Pawned website, put in your email address there. If you don't see any red thing like this, then it means your email has never been hijacked or your password has never been stolen before. So when you go to Have I Been Pawned altogether.com, you put your email there, find out if you've ever been pawned or your password has ever been stolen. If it has, if you see it in red, then it means find ways to change your password. That's a way to protect you. Oh, how can they steal your email? Of course, most times your email is always online. There are software that you can use to steal an entire email of an organization like Harvester. It normally comes with Kali Linus. You can steal an entire institution's email accounts and so on. All right, so these are ways. So somewhere in 2019, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was the highest password in the world. So a lot of people were using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as their password in 2019. And up to 2021, it's still ranked as the first. So you can imagine the number of people who are still using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as their password. Please find ways to, desist from this act. All right, so these are ways to protect yourself. You make sure you strengthen your passwords, and it makes it difficult for these attackers to brute force your accounts. Now, let me quickly, so that brings me to this awareness page, waiting for next week's lecture. Usually after every lecture, I ask students to, tell me what they've learned, 2 students, but for this purpose, we're not going to do that. So we will end here, and quickly, I'm going to share with you the course page so that please just give me about 5 minutes. I just want to talk about this so we can there's a minute, I'm coming, so sorry, just a minute. Okay, so I'm sharing my second screen. All right, so this is the course. I'm sorry, let me just get to the dashboard. So these are some courses that I've taken in GCTU and I think another, yeah. So for instance, this is, okay, this is Computer Security Plus. Okay, so computer network. So I'm sharing this link with the class rep, Ernest. Ernest will put it on the page. Sorry. Oh, okay. Nelson is the same as Ernest. Okay, okay. That's the class rep. Okay.
Yes, he's a boy.
And he's also called Truth.
Yeah, he's a boy.
The truth part.
Anyways, yeah, so this is a link to the course. Most of you have not. I would want you to register on this website, that is training.ianassociates.com. And the registration process, please pay attention. This is very important to me. A minute, let me just put it on the page for you. Please do as I say. Just a minute. I'll share the screen again. I think mistakenly. Let me get this right. Please, just a minute.
Yeah, they will hack your phone.
Yeah, so on the site, let me see. Okay, so when you do go to the IAN Associates, you will see the course. Let me sign out and see if the course might even be there. So please, from here you register. During the registration phase, what I want you to do is to use your index number. Please, this is very important. When you go to new accounts, at the username session, use your index number. Oh, sorry. Let me share it again. Yes, so at the username section, please use your index number. This is the website training.ia.associate.com. Then you go to new accounts, then use your index number as your username. You can use any password as you want. You can use any email as you want. Then please give me your first names. If mine is Felix Labi, so that could be my first names. First name. Then Aye is the surname. The city could be Takwa or whatever. And the country, of course, you select Ghana. Then you create a new account. Now it is after creating the accounts, then you go to the link which the class rep will put on the page, which I'm modifying and also sending to him again. The process is still there. Please stick to it. Username should be your index number. So the course is network security, computer network security. And the enrollment key for the course, enrollment key for the course is what I'm going to show you here. So at the moment, I'm the only person in the class. So I expect to see about 99 people, as said, over here. So that will be about 100. So the enrollment key that I have for this course is this. So this is the enrollment key. It's all going to be part of what I'm sending to the class rep. So that is a way to prevent people who are not in the class to be part of it. All right, so please use from now to end, so the time we meet again, to get yourself enrolled on the platform. I will put up the first assignment there. So please make sure you enroll. I've sent the link to your class rep. So he put it on the page for all of you to have access to it. All right, is there any question? If there is, you can ask, and then we can call it an evening whilst we prepare for next week.
Sir, can you still go over the registration?
Can I go over the registration? All right, so let me go. The class rep, NS, I've just sent you something. And the instruction here, it says you all can now create a new account with your index number as your username. And the link to create the index number, the platform to use has been stated. The enrollment key for the computer network security is there. So you use that one to register for the course. So this is the computer. There's a computer network security course. There's the icon. So when you go in there, it will ask you for an enrollment key. Then you enter your details and it will take you there. You enter the enrollment key that I've given in the class and it will take you in there. I'll monitor it and I'm hoping that before, possibly latest by Monday, most of you virtually all of you should be on. And I'll try to put up something there. All your assignments, all your quizzes, everything will fall in here. And because you are in final year, I will intentionally create a Turnitin. I'm sure you know what Turnitin is. That is used for plagiarism checking. I'm sure the institution does have one. So those are copy and paste and use AI to write. Luckily, 1018 helps us to, to fish out some of these AI written and also plagiarism checking, system when students go in that angle. So please, all of you enroll in the course. Oh, great, great. I'm seeing people enrolling. Wonderful. So I'm hoping latest by Monday, virtually all of you will enroll, and make sure you use your index number as your username. That will make it easier for me to, put your continuous assessments together. Nelson, since you are here, please also, the next time we meet, try and see if you can get me the entire class list, which I will be using in conjunction with this. Thank you very much. Is there any question? If there is, please let me know. So you can see that we have most of you enrolling now. Thank you very much. Okay. If there is a question, you can ask. Okay, out of context question about please, where are the routing tables stored? Can anyone track packets if they get access to the routing tables? Yeah, of course, routing tables, because you are using different servers, you are not using just one particular server to pick up. And during all this traffic transfer or transport, you get to know that encryption happens. If you look at that particular slide for how the Tor works, it does encrypt everything. So you'll not be able to track the individual. So that is to Johnson. I'm out of concept, or I think it's the same thing. Okay. When the packet is encrypted, it will be difficult to get access to that particular, traffic that you send across. And you should be mindful that because you use Tor browser, they are being routed to so many different servers before the final server actually goes online unencrypted. That is where it pulls the information. So it becomes a little difficult to know the source of the traffic, where it's coming from. As of now, if there has been a strategy to get access to or track packets using this, I've not seen anything like that. It becomes a little difficult because of the encryption that the Tor mechanism, Tor service does in encrypting the packet that goes in there. Please refresh your page. Okay. Yeah. So at this point, I'm going to stop the recording. We are done for today. Sorry, let me share the screen again. There's a recording that I'm stopping. So we are done for today. If you have any question, you can ask me. If not, then we can prepare.